So what is the definition of semantics? Semantics is the study of meanings of individual words, phrases, and sentences. So in this field of study, in this field of discipline, in this discipline, we will study the meaning of words, phrases, or sentences. Now, when we discuss meaningfulness, then there are two things that comes into our mind, and those things are appropriateness and grammaticality. For that, there is one sentence posited by Noam Chomsky in his book Syntactic Structure in 1957, and the sentence goes like this: colorless green ideas sleep furiously. Now, when you look at this sentence, and I hope that I have previously discussed this sentence as well, that you will find that this sentence is perfectly grammatical, because there is a subject green and sorry, there is a subject ideas, and ideas in a plural form, and so we have a plural verb sleep, and we have an adverb furiously, that is modifying the verb, and we have one adjective green, that is modifying ideas, and then colorless is modifying green. So if we look at the grammar, then we find that this sentence is perfectly grammatical. But when it comes to appropriateness, then we find that this sentence is not appropriate. And why this sentence is not appropriate? Because this sentence is not meaningful. And why this sentence is not meaningful? Because if something or something has a color, then that thing cannot be colorless. And we also know that the ideas that we have, we can't say that I have a red idea, or I have a blue idea, or yesterday I had an idea and the color was black. So we can't associate a color scheme with ideas. Moreover, ideas cannot sleep. Human beings, animals, insects, they can sleep, but ideas cannot sleep. So again, there is a problem. We are using verb sleep with a thing that cannot sleep. And then furiously. Again, someone can sleep calmly, someone can sleep peacefully, but no one can sleep furiously. And particularly, ideas, they do not sleep. So this is this is the way through which we can see that though this sentence is perfectly grammatical, but it is not appropriate. So this is the starting point of semantics, or we can take this sentence as the starting point of semantics, which is the study of meanings of individual words, phrases, and sentences. Now, when we talk about meaningfulness, when we talk about the meaningfulness of words, phrases, and sentences, then Frege's principle of compositionality also comes into being. Now, what is this Frege's principle of compositionality? Now, Gottlob Frege, he was a logician, and he gave this principle of compositionality. Now, when before we discuss the principle of compositionality, we need to take into consideration these two sentences. The dog bit the postman, and the postman was bitten by the dog. Now, in this sentence, the first sentence is in the active voice. The dog bit the postman. So the dog is our logical subject, and the dog is our grammatical subject as well. bit the postman, and the postman is your logical object as well as grammatical object. So in active voice, it is very clear that the grammatical subject is the logical subject and grammatical object is the logical object. But when it comes to the passive voice, the postman was bitten by the dog. Then though the postman here is the grammatical subject, but it is actually the logical object. And the dog, though it is here the grammatical object, but actually the logical subject. So in active passive, we find that the noun phrases, the dog and the postman, they are interchanged. And there is a use of past participle form with an auxiliary like was bitten and a preposition by. So this this also helps us to understand in terms of the principle of compositionality. Now, when we discuss that how sentence one, the dog bit the postman, is composed, so we can see that there are only 5 words. In the subject position, we have the dog, and in the object position, we have the postman. At the same time, when I say the dog bit the postman, then you know the meaning of this sentence. What is the meaning of this sentence? The dog bit the postman. Because you know the meaning of the individual words, like what is dog, what is the meaning of bit, what is the meaning of postman, and why the word the is used. So you know the individual meaning and usages of these words when there is a sentence like this. So similarly, there is a change in object and subject, and then you have a passive voice. And when it comes to the passive voice, then also you know what is the meaning of the postman, what is the meaning of by the dog, and what is the meaning of was bitten here. So now we will come to discuss what is this Frege's principle of compositionality. So what it says that the meaning of a sentence clearly depends upon at least 2 other things: the meanings of the words in the sentence and the grammatical structure of the sentence. So that is to say, if you need to understand the meaning of a particular utterance or a sentence, you must know the meaning of the individual words that are used in the sentence. That is the first requirement. And the second requirement is that you must know the grammatical structure of the sentence. Now, when you read sentence 1 and 2, you know that the meaning is same, though the structure is different. And what is this difference in the structure? The first sentence is in the active voice and the second sentence is in the passive voice. But the meaning is same. So these 2 things you also need to keep in mind once you analyze a sentence or a phrase. At the same time, when we discuss meaningfulness, then we need to understand that something becomes meaningful in a particular context. So if I say colorless green ideas sleep furiously, just like that, then no one will understand what is the meaning of this colorless green ideas sleep furiously, though it is grammatical but meaningless. But if I use colorless green ideas sleep furiously in a linguistic class, then you will very well understand why I have used it, because it has a context. And what is context here? The context here is that I want to teach you what do we mean by meaningfulness and what do we mean by appropriateness. And we are also discussing the Chomskyan concept. So this becomes the context. And as you can see that this text is in between these contexts. So that means anything, any text becomes meaningful when it occurs in a particular context. So now if I say colorless green ideas sleep furiously, since it is occurring in a context, then this text becomes very much meaningful. and you know the context. And once you know the context, then the text becomes discourse. So there is a literary theorist named Mikhail Bakhtin, and what he says, he defines discourse as concrete living totality. Now, what do we mean by this phrase, concrete living totality? It means that when something is uttered, something is read, something is understood, then that particular thing is is occurred. That particular thing is occurred in a context, and someone who is interpreting that thing, someone who is trying to find out the meaning behind that thing, either spoken or written, then the person uses all his or her experiences in the entire life. So that is the meaning of concrete living totality we have. That means we use all the experiences that we have of language, of different situations, and then we try to find out what is the meaning of this particular utterance or sentence. Sometimes it happens that when we are reading something, we find one particular word, for that we do not know the meaning. And what do? We try to first of all look the nearby words, and we try to find out what will be the possible meaning of this particular word and in this particular context. But still, if we find difficult, then we try to find out, we open a dictionary, we try to find out, okay, what is the meaning of this particular word. Sometimes we use a guesswork. Okay, this word looks like another word like this, so there is a possibility that these two words are associated in meaning. So various types of permutation and combinations we use of our memory, of our previous experiences, past knowledge, and that is concrete living totality by Bhakti. Now further, we will see what are the problems in Frege's principle of compositionality. Now Frege says that we need to take care of two things. First thing is like the individual meaning of the words, and second thing is the grammatical structure. So when we have seen the dog bit the postman type examples, when the meaning is only one, then we do not have any problem like that. But the problem arises when the sentence or utterance is like this. And what is this sentence or utterance? She loves me more than you. Now, what is the meaning? Now, here the meaning is not one, but the meanings are two. Because we know that in the English language, pronoun you can be used as the subject, and pronoun you can also be used as an object. So now when a word has more than one meaning, as we previously discussed, that particular word is known as ambiguous. So here we can say that you is an ambiguous word. She loves me more than you. So what is the meaning? One meaning is she loves me more than you love me. And another meaning is she loves me more than she loves you. So if we take you as a subject, then the meaning is she loves me more than you love me. And when we take you as an object, then the meaning is she loves me more than she loves you. Now here, there is a problem in the principle of compositionality, because this utterance, this sentence is ambiguous. It has more than one meaning. So what is the problem here? The meaning of a sentence clearly depends upon at least two other things. That is said by Frege, the meaning of the words in the sentence and the grammatical structure of the sentence. Now this particular sentence has two grammatical structure. And why this particular sentence has two grammatical structure? Because there is a word which can function as a logical subject and which can function as logical object. So this is one problem that we have seen with the principle of compositionality. So likewise, we have different language puzzles as well, and it is quite interesting, and they are related to semantic standpoint. So what is this problem? Let's say I'm reading this for you. The father and son are riding a car. They get into a car accident. The father dies, and the son is rushed to the emergency room of a nearby hospital. And the doctor comes in and says, I can't operate on this boy. He is my son. Now, you might wonder that, okay, the father is dead, father is no more, and the doctor comes in and says, I can't operate on this boy. He is my son. So you will think like, okay, doctor is already dead. Then what is the relationship between the doctor and the son or the boy? The doctor is actually the mother here. So now, when we talk about meaningfulness, when we talk about the words and they have certain meanings associated with them, then we go for a prototypical meaningfulness. We go for the concept of prototypes. For example, if I say you meet me in a hospital, and if I say the nurse is coming, wait, and then there is a man comes, then our general notion for a nurse is like nurse can be a female, but that is not always the case. Nurse can be a male. So this is like the concept of prototypes that we have. So similarly, we have a concept like uh, when we say the dinner is ready. So we think that, okay, the dinner is ready. That means dinner is prepared by either a mother or a daughter. But we won't think that dinner is prepared by father or dinner is prepared by brother. So these type of concepts that we have associated with different activities that we do and the different words that we have. So semantics is concerned with inherent meanings within words. So this is another thing that once we start thinking, then our thinking process first associates the most common meaning that is there with that particular word. So if I say bird, and if I say think of a bird, then you will think of a sparrow, you will think of a parrot, you will think of a crow, but you will not think of penguin, you will not think of ostrich. Now why don't you think of penguin and why don't you think of ostrich? Because again, we think in terms of the concept of prototypes. So if we associate things with a bird, then we have this concept that a bird is a bird when it flies, and penguin cannot fly. So bird is a bird when it can fly, and ostrich cannot fly. So that's why our concept says like bird is a bird that is very light in weight, but ostrich is very heavy. Bird is a bird that is very small in size. Again, ostrich and penguin, they are not that small. So again, when we go for the meaningfulness, then generally we go for the close associates. We go for the inherent meaning that is there within words. So further, we will see the concept of prototypes, and for that we will need to understand these sentences. First sentence is, strictly speaking, an ostrich is a bird. Strictly speaking, a robin is a bird. Now there are two sentences. I have simply changed the name of a bird. Strictly speaking, an ostrich is a bird. Now this is appropriate when it comes to strictly speaking. When we use this phrase, strictly speaking, That means we are highlighting certain things. And why we are highlighting? Because though ostrich is a bird, but ostrich cannot fly like normal birds. So that's why we need to make it a note that strictly speaking an ostrich is a bird, then it is appropriate. But if we say strictly speaking a robin is a bird, then it is not appropriate, because we have this concept that robin is a bird, but ostrich is a bird we need to emphasize. So here, strictly speaking, a robin is a bird is not appropriate, because we can see robin year around. We have this concept of robin, and we know that okay, robin is very light, very small, robin can fly. Fine. So that's why strictly speaking phrase is not appropriate when we talk about robin as a bird. Similarly, when we say technically a whale is a mammal, it's appropriate, because we are emphasizing that okay, you do not know, so let me inform you, let me educate you that a whale that a whale fish is also a mammal, so this is appropriate. But when we say technically a dolphin is a fish, because it is so common, we know this thing, a dolphin is a fish. We see dolphin near around nowadays in different malls, like very huge malls. We have a swimming pool, and like one person is playing with a dolphin. In various movies we have seen dolphin. So when someone says technically a dolphin is a fish, then it is not appropriate. So appropriate use of expressions like strictly speaking and technically is partly determined prototypicality of goodness of category of membership. Now we know that robin is a good member in bird category, but ostrich is not a good member in a bird category, and we have seen why. Similarly, we know that dolphin is a good category in the category fish, but whale is not, because whale is so huge. Fine. Generally, we can't see whale. Even if you are in the middle of an ocean, then there is a possibility that you can see whale fish. Otherwise, generally, you won't see whale. So, this thing is also important, that the meaningfulness or appropriateness of particular expression is determined prototypicality of by prototypicality. So this thing you need to also keep in mind when we talk about the semantics and particularly the meaningfulness. So I'll stop here, and we will discuss other such things in the next class. So if you have any doubt or question, you can raise